Hi, hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to have a truly amazing guest, which I actually kind of followed around and tried to get here, and I finally made it. She's a truly powerful woman because she's a women's health and perinatal specialist physiotherapist. She's also a Pilates instructor, actually Pilates reformer instructor, and a mother of two. And her chart shows the journey of a hidden warrior who transforms challenges into healing. Katie is a woman with an Aries rising. She has her Mars in Aries in the 12th house and a life dedicated to empowering women through body and confidence. So, hi Katie, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that we finally made it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start by saying that I am amazed by your birth chart, actually.
Really? I'm
Well, yeah,
intrigued.
because when people look at somebody and they ask their sign and you said you were an Aquarius. Remember the story that I saw that you were an Aquarius and I actually guessed that. So anyway, people think that, I don't know, for example, there's a stereotype about every sign. And so people say about Aquarius is, oh, they don't have any feelings. They are like this, they're like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And instead, you're totally different because, Aquarius is a little bit colder, okay, because your sun is in Aquarius, but your rising is in Aries, so you're far from anything like that. And also, for example, about Aries, a lot of people would say Aries is impulsive. They want to do it their way all the time. But actually, your Aries, your major energy in Aries, is actually in the 12th house. And the 12th house is about privacy and hidden stuff, like hidden gifts, hidden talents, self-undoing. It's about, like, stuff not on the surface, right? And your inner warrior, because Aries is like the warrior of the zodiac, is actually in the 12th house. So yes, you have the tendency to be a little bit impulsive, but since it's hidden in the 12th house, you kind of sometimes, at least that's how I read it, you kind of struggle with asserting that, power. Like sometimes you feel like you want to be, but then you kind of second guess it. I don't know if I read it correctly,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm all of that at the moment.
But anyway, I think pretty soon, that means next year in 2026, you will feel a lot more empowered to actually express your Aries, energy, your Aries rising, your Aries Mars, because in the next year we are going to have like 5 planets in Aries. So it's gonna be kind of your year somehow, because a lot
That's
of
what
people who have a lot of energy of Aries are going to feel a lot more entitled, let's just put it this way, entitled to express themselves, to express this energy of starting new things, doing things the way they want to do it. And I just feel you're gonna feel it for sure. So anyway, enough me talking. I want to ask you, when did you first realize that you were actually going to go on a healing path, like trying to heal people? When did you first realize that?
I think I've always known it. Like, as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to work in healthcare or work helping people. Even as a child, I was an only child, but even as a child, I was constantly trying to look after my cousins. Yeah, I feel like I don't think there is a specific point. I think it's just always been within me. Like I've for as long as I've known, my first ever job was in healthcare and
What was it?
a care assistant.
And how long did you do that?
I worked as a care assistant whilst I say my first ever job. I kind of before that I worked in shops as lifeguard and things like that. But my first ever kind of proper job, I say proper job, when I was 18 at university was in working as at university in part time in a care home.
Okay. And did you like that? How did it feel like?
It was challenging. I did like it, yes. It was incredibly challenging.
But you
But
didn't work only with women then, right? You
no,
were
no,
with
I worked in a care home for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. So that was incredibly challenging. So they were much older, and I just remember this one time I went to put this lady's shoe. I was only 18 at the time. I went to put this lady's shoes on, and she just grabbed my hair and pulled a chunk of it out, because obviously she had
Wow.
Alzheimer's. She didn't know what she was doing, unfortunately, and the horrible disease that Alzheimer's is. So yeah, and even then I still wanted to go back, and I've always wanted to help people. I think that it's always been deep within me, I think.
Yeah, I think I know why. Because you have like a lot of planets, most of your planets, because the birth chart is composed by 12 houses, which are 12 areas of our lives. Like, for example, the rising sign is actually our first house, which is the body's house, is our own self house. For example, the second house is usually interpreted as the money house. The third house is communication house. So you see, every house is related to an area of our lives. And
Yeah.
so you have a cluster, you have two cluster of planets which are located in two houses. Most of your planets are located in two houses. That's why you feel so connected to this area of healing and
Mm.
trying to help people, because you have most of your planets in the eighth house and in the 12th house, which I already spoke about. So the 12th house is about, like I said, privacy and hidden talents, karma, self undoing, which means things that we do unconsciously that actually harm ourselves. It's also connected to hidden gifts, things that we are good at, but we don't even know how we learn them because they are hidden and it's kind of inherited from previous lifetimes. And
Yeah.
the eighth house actually is connected to, and this is going to make you feel like very intrigued, I guess, because the eighth house is about intimacy, bonding, shared finances and resources, rebirth, birth, taboo subjects, sexual activities, and look at you being a healer for women who have given birth, right?
Mm.
And that's really powerful, and that makes me think that you are on your right path without even realizing it, or maybe realizing it because you have always felt drawn towards this path, so somehow you always knew it. And also I think you have like a little bit of psychic qualities because of this eighth house, which is full of planets. So your impulses, sometimes you just feel like the need to control them somehow or to keep them to yourself. So that's why I think it's just fantastic how one can see how the birth chart plays out in real life. And I'm fascinated about your birth chart because when I saw your eighth house, I was like, wow, you have such psychic power. Like you can understand things even if they are not told specifically to you with words, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and the fact that you have this Aries energy gives you the strength to go, I think, to go beyond what people may tell you and understand and take
Yeah.
action on stuff that hasn't even been expressed completely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
yeah, anyway, so tell me, when did you actually became the postnatal specialist?
So I started training. So I did my kind of Pilates, my antenatal and postnatal Pilates before I was pregnant. I
Okay.
initially worked in women's health in the NHS before I was pregnant. And then whilst I was pregnant on maternity leave, I did extra training. And then, well, between my first and my second, potentially, my first baby was born in COVID. So it was very difficult to do anything at that time.
So it was
But
in 2020, right?
2020,
20.
yeah. And then, yes, I think my private stuff was after my first was born. When I was pregnant with my second. But I had been in it before both my children.
Right. But you became Pilates reformer instructor before that, right?
No, so I've only become a reformer instructor in the last year, but I've been a mat instructor and
Ah,
an antenatal and postnatal instructor since like 2017 for nearly 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you manage to do this during COVID? Like, did you start then something online or?
No, I didn't. And I really wish I had, but I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant the first, like the week before lockdown, the very first lockdown. And I was working in the
That's
NHS.
very
So,
fortunate.
yeah, so everyone kind of then took their businesses online. But for me, I was focusing on working in the NHS in the middle of COVID whilst being pregnant and trying to protect myself and my baby and work in the NHS. So my private stuff went to the side during COVID and during my first
So
pregnancy.
wait, you were going outside publicly while you were pregnant?
I was working in the hospital, yeah.
That was tough. That was a tough job.
Obviously, I
Um,
wasn't in, I was taking off kind of like the really off a lot of the wards, but I was still going into the hospital every day.
you said that you had two emergency C-sections.
Yeah.
But when did you stop working because you realized that you couldn't anymore because of the pregnancy?
I worked till I was 36 weeks with both of them. Yeah.
That's a lot. You managed to actually, that's your Aries rising there because you have strong resilience inside and you
Yeah, I
managed
have.
it.
Yeah, I think that is one of probably my biggest things is that I'm extremely resilient.
Yes, yes, for sure. And actually, you not only have your rising in Aries, but you also have Mars in Aries. And Mars is in its natural sign. So that means that you have double the resilience of somebody else. For example, I have Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is structured, like I can plan stuff, I can do lists, I can be structured and everything, but I'm never gonna be as powerful as you. I can be powerful through programming.
Yeah, that is my downfall. That is my downfall. I'm more impulsive. Let's just do it.
Exactly, exactly. But you just do it. Like I have to plan it before doing. You just do it.
I need someone like you.
And I think sometimes I feel like I would need a little bit more of Aries energy because I overseeing a lot of stuff. For example, on the platform where we met, like every lesson, every module, I would actually read it and go through it until I finally understand it. Like I wouldn't go to the next one until I didn't actually understand and do
Yeah,
everything in that
that's good.
module.
That's good.
I know, but it's like very, very slow. Whilst I would imagine you would go a lot quicker through the modules than me
Yeah,
because you, first of all, I mean, I feel like you are a little bit impatient, probably.
I'm very impatient.
And so I don't think you would, even if you didn't probably understand completely everything, you would still go forward, you still, and I think you actually apply what Carrie says, done is better than perfect. Remember that?
That is true. Yeah, exactly. And I listen
She
to
always
everything
says
one
that.
and a half speed.
Exactly. And I just feel like she's right. And she actually motivates me to do it. But kind of somehow I still have this because this is Virgo. Virgo feels like if it's not perfect, it's garbage. So I have to plan it to the core to feel safe to go forward, which is not good sometimes because sometimes you really need to actually take action just like you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And I love Aries energy because in many ways, sometimes if you think too much about stuff, like if you overanalyze stuff, you're gonna end up convincing yourself to not do it,
yeah.
And I don't think it's a good thing, you know what I mean? Because sometimes even if you are not completely correct, it's better to do it. And actually, I read something in astrology. There was a very big astrology guru who said something like sometimes in life events, you feel like you have to think and kind of weigh your options. And
Yeah,
sometimes you get stuck on weighing options and you don't take action. And because you don't take action, the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, like the supreme force, is going to decide for you. And sometimes that decision is not going to be good for you. It's going to be actually very bad. So it's better to choose yourself something, even if it's not a decision taken 100%. It's better to decide something yourself and then adjust rather than not making any decision. Is going to force the supreme forces to take one for you and you're not going to like it. What
Problem
do you
is
think?
implementation. I've got 1,000 ideas that I want to do just now. I want to do all of them now, but it's the implementation.
I think you should go for them, like at least part of them.
That is my thing for 2026. I'm going all in on everything. My half's like, you've lost the plot.
Okay, if if I have to recommend something for you, I think I would recommend doing things after the second half of February.
Okay?
If I were to recommend something, like start everything, but wait until the second half of February to start stuff. Definitely not do it in January directly because everybody's gonna have more data on the stuff they're thinking about in January, late January. So it would be best to wait until you have a complete picture of everything before starting because
Okay.
with the new information that we're gonna get, you're gonna kind of want to adjust some things that you are considering. I don't know what you're considering, but I'm saying in general, we're gonna have all of us some new information that is going to come, but it's gonna come in the late January. So
Okay.
that's my recommendation, but totally like go for stuff like from March onwards. It's gonna be, and anyway, even if you wouldn't want to, you're gonna feel the impulse to do it because, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of planets in Aries, and Aries is all about movement, like not staying still, going forward, doing stuff, even if you're not feeling sure, just doing it. So, anyway, remember the list of the questions that I've sent you. So I asked you, besides all of what we already said, what actually inspired you to specialize in helping and healing women particularly? Did you have a particular impulse in doing that or in specializing in that?
All I know is that I feel really deeply that I need to help women, people at their most vulnerable time,
Mm-hmm.
because I like helping elderly people as well, and also people when they've had an operation. For me, it's that when they're at their most vulnerable time and there is no support, and I want to be able to help people and give them the support, empower them to feel stronger, get them back on their feet, and just feel supported and loved and cared for and helped, basically.
I think a little bit comes from the fact that you had the two emergency C-sections. Maybe you felt like you didn't have enough support around you or
Yeah,
enough
some of it is
information.
probably, a lot of it's probably from childhood as well. I felt like I was on my own quite a lot for a lot of it, growing up, and then also at times I felt like I had to kind of look after my mum as well. So I think it's always been kind of built in me as well. And then yeah, and then I had an emergency C-section, but actually the recovery of the C-section itself was okay, but because I knew what I was doing, whereas we take for granted, especially as healthcare professionals, that we do know what we're doing to an extent, whereas you know other women going into the hospital having a C-section. And I feel really strongly that, and I had a bit of a, not an argument, but a strong conversation with someone whose views were very different. But I feel strongly that we should empower women before they have children about all of the outcomes, what could happen, because women are going into the birth thinking they're going to breathe babies out or it's going to be a magical birth. And when it doesn't happen like that, they think it's their fault, and it isn't. And birth is complex, and to have the perfect birth, everything has to be aligned. And that doesn't always happen. And yes, there are failings, within the NHS. We know that. But regardless of that, even if those weren't there, yes, a lot more of the outcomes would be better. But still, not everybody will be able to have this perfect birth. And I really strongly believe that we need to empower women and so they know how to recover after birth themselves.
Right. I think especially women who are not specialized in recovery or who haven't had this big interest in health or in fitness, like this area, wellness generally, I think you are right. Most women don't even know exactly what they're getting into. And I also believe a lot of women need help in that because I think there's just a lot of misconception, especially with social media. There are a lot of women today who give birth and then a few months after they're in perfect shape, and they kind of promote this image like giving birth is always easy, and that's not
Exactly.
always the case, or is always easy to come back from it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes
but
sometimes you really need support.
but yeah, and not just that, but like we're even the professionals that are educating women antenatally, some of them aren't giving all of the potential outcomes and fully educating women on everything. You don't want to know everything that's going to happen before birth, but at least like, you know, some other things and how to recover. And that is what we're not giving women. So women have the baby, and then all of a sudden, like we have great antenatal care, and then all of a sudden it all stops and everything is about the baby, which quite rightly we've brought this tiny little human into the world and it needs fully looking after. But so does the mum. The mum has been through this
Exactly.
transformational stage. They're now healing themselves whilst trying to look after someone else, and they need help. They need looking after. They need someone to, you know, help them and show them what they need to do to recover.
For sure. And I think maybe you felt this also because, like I said, you have a lot of psychic energy. You kind of understand more than normal people would understand. With these planets in your 8th and 12th house, your life is dominated by birth and trauma and inner strength. And for example, through those emergency C-sections, your Saturn and Pluto, Saturn is all about work and hardships, and Pluto is about deep transformation. And kind of those two transits explain the crises and delays and hard lessons that you had to learn. But those exact events that trigger the transformation and the suffering, they actually led you to pick your path into helping somebody else because you have a lot more inner strength than other people. This helped you bounce directly into that. Plus, your Jupiter is all about growth and study, and the fact that you had. I remember that you answered about a traumatic event, and after that, you went again to study like 5 years later. I don't know what the traumatic event was, but the fact is that when you decided to retake study, it was all about Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion and study and learning, becoming a teacher. And the fact that you have the Aries energy in the 12th house suggests that you are better off sometimes with doing things on your own, becoming your own teacher, but also doing things by yourself
Yeah.
without being necessarily with other people. And
Yeah, I don't rely on anyone. Like me and my partner had like we don't have kind of family around to support us with our kids, and I don't like asking for help.
of course you
I don't
don't.
I don't rely on anyone, and I thought that was because of like being on my own on my childhood, but it
Yeah.
may be part of my birth sign anyway. But yeah, I I'm very independent and I don't like asking for help, and I rely on myself a lot.
Between Aquarius energy and Aries energy, of course, you want to be independent and don't want to depend on anybody. That's for sure. And I would actually think that you don't even want your partner to help you sometimes. I don't know.
I'm very yeah. But
So
then sometimes, you know, I then it's bittersweet, isn't it? Because then sometimes I want to be looked after and have a cuddle.
of course, but you have trouble expressing that because
Yeah,
because you have this energy Aries hidden in the 12th house. So it's very hard for you to express it. And I mean, I would say it like, for example, come close but not so close. It's kind of a
Yeah.
contradiction. Like you want him close, but not too close, because that's too much. You feel overwhelmed, or you feel like you can't breathe, or this kind of stuff. I would kind of understand it like this energy, which is a little bit like counterintuitive if you want, but
Yeah.
also people are complex. They are not just the placements. I wanted to also go through the fact that you said that you do a lot of stuff, but you feel some kind of guilt around the fact that you kind of think that you don't manage to do everything right. And I think I found a reason why, because like I said, you have a lot of planets in your 12th house, and you also have your north node in the 12th house. So first of all, let me explain. In our birth chart, we have the north node and the south node, and the north node is about our development in this life, what we are supposed to do with our lives, what is our path in this life. And the south node represents what qualities and gifts we already have because of our past lives, okay? And your north node is in Aries. That's why I said that sometimes you feel like you want to do things by yourself, that like you feel you're meant, for example, to be an entrepreneur, to start a business of your own. And the fact that you feel like you need to do it online is because of Aquarius energy, because Aquarius is about communities and online communities. So that's why you feel like you are meant to start something on your own, but online is related to Aquarius. And so I had started to tell you about the guilt that you feel sometimes is because of your south node, because the south node is naturally opposite energy of the north node. That means that your south node is in Libra. Libra usually is all about trying to balance and trying to keep peace with everybody. We can sometimes feel like we can do this, but sometimes we feel like we can't, because you can't actually find necessarily balance or peace with everybody in your life. And that leads to a little bit of sense of guilt, the feeling that you are somehow the problem, that things don't work out always, right? And you have this south node in the sixth house, and the sixth house is about everyday life, daily habits, work, what you do on a daily basis, whatever the action or activity you do on a daily basis is related to your sixth house. And you have the energy of the south node in the sixth house. And that's why you feel like you can't balance everything together. But it's just like, first of all, balancing everything is kind of an illusion if you think about it, right? I mean, I am yet to know somebody who actually does this, right? I mean, we try, of course, but that doesn't mean that it's something that we can really achieve. Maybe we can do this, like we can view this a little bit like on like we can take it one day at a time. Like some days we can, and some days we just have to give up and understand that we can't. And you also mentioned about the wine and astrology, which was kind of funny. So the wine part is like you're doing happy hours at your place, or you're going out with friends. What exactly?
No, at home. At home.
I think it's, what kind of wine do you like?
Any.
Okay,
White or red? White or well, actually I like roses. Yeah, any. I'm
red.
not fast. Well,
Hmm.
no, all of it. I like white. I like red. I like prosecco. Just depends on the day.
That's great. That's awesome. I am
Probably
more,
instruct what you said about it being what some part of it is like a self-destruct one.
yeah.
Probably part of that.
Yeah, I'm usually about white. I don't know. Red is kind of heavy for
You're
me.
in Italy. That's because you're in Italy and it's hot, so you got to have white in Italy.
Yes, yes. I just feel like red wine is a bit heavier, and I need to kind of pair it with a lot of food. For me,
Yeah,
for me, I mean.
red's nice. Red's nice on with a roast dinner, or
Yeah.
yeah, or
Uh,
yeah, on colder days.
Yeah, pasta is also good with wine if it's a,
Yeah, yeah,
for
love
example, we have the carbonara, which is very well, which goes very well with a good red wine. So that would be great. Oh my
any
God.
any fish linguine.
I'm getting hungry just thinking
Yeah,
about it. Anyway, I wanted to say that the fact that you feel like starting or going on your own online business, I think the context is because we have Uranus in Taurus and it goes into your 10th house, and the 10th house is all about public image and career. And it's also about unconventional career path, okay? Because Uranus is everything about unconventional stuff. And Aquarius also is about doing unconventional. Unconventional is typically thought to be, for example, everything related to online and internet, even though in today's life, internet and online is kind of conventional somehow, right? But, that was usually the case to be perceived like that. And then there's also Jupiter in Taurus, which kind of causes you to grow your own mentality, your own business, it goes on kind of bringing more financial expansion and business opportunities. And so I think the 2025 for you is like a the perfect timing for translating healing, fitness, astrology into your own business. And you could combine this mastery with personal freedom, which is something that you already mentioned that you really like to have, like your personal freedom and independence.
yeah. So for me at the moment, whether it fits in with this, I don't know. But for me, 2025 has been a year of kind of learning and building ideas and growing, um, growing as a person and just learning loads of different things, and and then just brimming with ideas and new ideas. And then for me, 2026 is all about execution. By the end of 2026, I want that
I think
freedom.
I think it's perfect. Your intuition is on point. Your plan is perfect. I wanted to, like I said in our first call, my channel, Cosmic Fitness, and my business, Cosmic Fitness, is all about workout plans for people based on their birth chart placements, especially the sun, the moon, Mars, and the sixth house, because those are the placements that actually are related to health and wellness and physicality. I wanted to suggest like a workout plan based on what we talk about, because you said that you wanted to be smaller. So I would suggest some things, and then of course you are free to adjust whatever you want.
Yeah,
But I do remember that you said that you work out, you do tennis once a week, and you do Pilates once a week. Is
I
that
know.
true?
I do tennis occasionally. I don't really do tennis once a week, but I do. I teach Pilates kind of 3 or 4 times a week, and then within that, I do it as well. And then I kind of do my own sessions on the kind of reformer as well. And then
After your lesson, sorry, after your lesson or when?
in and around my lessons, sometimes I do it at home on my own, sometimes, but I then at home I've got some weights and I'll try and put together like kind of like a little, I like pairing up exercises, and then so I'll do kind of like 10 press ups and 10 like
Row.
rows or something. Yeah. And then do that 3 times and then move on to something else. And usually, yeah.
Okay,
If I
so
can at home. But yeah, it's fitting it in at the moment. It's time at the moment because every spare bit of time around my kids and working, I'm putting into my business and working. So at the moment, that's kind of where my time is.
okay, okay. So I had a workout plan suggestion for 3 days, and I'm going to show it to you. But keep in mind that I had maintained one day for tennis, but we can always change that because I had done like a 3-day workout plan for you.
Okay, that's fine.
And I want to share my screen if that's okay with you, so
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this. I should move this probably. What if I okay. Do you see this? Do you see my screen? No.
Yeah. No, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the first thing that I want to mention is that, like I said, the placement that I'm considering is Sun, Rising, Moon, Mars, and the sixth house, okay? And because
Yeah.
you have a sixth house in Leo, that suggests that you have a lot of resilience, so you can do strength training. But since your sixth house is in Leo, you need also self-expression. And so, what I would suggest is, for example, strength training and Pilates combo because you're good at Pilates already. So, that would be like a mix between what I do and what you do. And
Yeah.
so I suggest like dynamic mobility first of all, but on some music that you love because
Yeah.
Leo needs a lot of fun, and I think that that would kind of motivate you to start to actually get involved in the workout. I feel like if you have the music that you love, somehow you're not gonna focus on the workout, which might feel
Yeah.
hard. Rather, you focus on the fact that you're having fun.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
a strength circuit, what I suggest is something that you already mentioned right now, squat and press, for example. And I didn't mention here in my plan any dumbbell, barbell, whatever, but you can always add
Okay.
them, okay, if you want to. Otherwise, it's perfect because a lot of people think that they need to have like results immediately, but I feel you understand that it's not that. What is more important is to start and to actually just execute the first times, and
Yeah.
then the improvement is going to come no matter what. I think you understand what I mean, right? Because you're already
Yeah.
an instructor yourself. So what I would suggest would be like, for example, a strength circuit on this day, which could be squat and press, deadlift, or hip hinge of whatever kind. I suggest good mornings. Deadlift, as you know already, is also a hip hinge. So
Yeah.
either that or that, some kind of row or pull movement. And of course, for the core, I would suggest plank variations. I suggested some of them, but whatever you like best. Plus,
Yeah.
in Pilates, you have like a lot of variations, so you can really freely choose between whatever. And as a finisher, I would suggest glute bridges, some single leg series, and of course, you would need a little bit of a cool down afterwards. And as you see, I suggest something that is not more than 45 minutes.
That's
And
perfect. All of that stuff is stuff that I'd love to do. Yeah, definitely.
okay, and also since you don't have to use dumbbell barbells, you can do it at home. And then
Yeah.
on the second day, I suggested based on your moon and Venus because I thought that's why you liked tennis.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
do. I do.
yeah, and I think it's because your moon and Venus are in Sagittarius. But for example, with moon and Venus Sagittarius, you can also try, for example, to do some power walks outside, or you can also try a little bit of a jog outside. I don't know if you have a yard or a balcony or a park nearby your house.
Well, I love walking. Like this morning, I just love walking around like in the woods with like the sun shining through the trees and things like that. We've got lots of country parks around here, and there's a
That's
field just
why.
yeah, and there's a field just opposite my house, which I love walking around as well. So yeah, I try to get out most days in and having like a nice walk with either with my children or without. But
I also think for children it's kind of nice to walk around and
yeah,
discover
definitely.
nature.
I'm like hugely into kind of being
Yeah.
in nature.
And a third day, HIIT, high intensity interval training,
Yeah,
actually kind of supports a little bit more the weight loss. Also, HIIT workouts, first of all, are very short. Second of all, are bursts of intensity, which is something that your inside Aries would love. And third of all, you can do them at home or you can do them outside. So it depends if, for example, you have like a day with a lot of rain or snow or whatever, because we're kind of in the middle of winter, I think you could do them at home. And this would like,
I
sorry?
hate climbers, but
Yeah.
that's only hard.
And so for the third day, I would suggest some HIIT workouts. And here I just put some exercises that are traditionally considered when you think about HIIT workouts. But we can always adjust them, or you can combine some of them. Like, for example, you can do like one push up and plank, or you can do one push up and half jump. Burpees can be complete burpees or half burpees.
Yeah,
You can always change them, and it would be like 30 seconds work, 20 seconds rest for 3 rounds. So it's going to be really a very short workout, but it's actually going to work a lot on the resilience, on the weight loss. And I think you already know this, but cardio supports a lot the heart. And since you have the sixth house in Leo, and Leo is about the heart, I think it's important to kind of have some cardio and heat
mm,
work more on the heart muscle. It would be good to try this out, but also we can do like option B, which would be a power walk, like you said that you like, and then add some stops into your walk. Like if you have, for example, in Italy, we have in some parks, we have some places where you can work out. We have like parallels or some things where you can work out
yeah.
in the middle of nature. Do you have this or
Yeah,
no?
we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay, so you could stop at a bench. Benches are usually present in any park. So you could stop at a bench and do some bench step ups, tricep dips, squat jumps, plank on grass or whatever, or
Perfect.
on ground. So it could be an idea. And then I had some nutritional guidance. I mean, I don't know what kind of, like, if you have your own nutritional plan, but for a person with your placements, I would suggest to focus, like, to not have a strict diet, but rather focus on being good 80% of
Yeah,
the time, and 20% of the time do something that you love. Like if you're into sweets or this kind of stuff, like have them and feel no guilt about them, because it could support your overall
yeah.
project.
I
Because
food. I enjoy eating food and I love food. But I eat a very whole food diet. I barely eat processed food.
that's
And
good.
yeah, I like good food.
That's perfect. Food is at least 60-70% of our own overall health and wellness. Like I feel that workouts, they have their place in the sense that, of course, to have like a lean body or a nice image in the mirror, we have to work out, but the workouts are not going to establish our own health, like inner
Exactly.
health. That is supported more by the food we ingest, by the nutrition. So that's why I feel like it's very important, for example, to have non-processed foods or to keep it to 80% of the time, because it would be unrealistic for most people to never have anything processed. And I think that if you restrict yourself too much, you end up binging, and that's worse. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's better to choose it yourself, you know what I mean? And then because you have a lot of Aries and you have the Leo sixth house, I would prioritize a lot of protein in your diet with every meal. If you have snacks between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I suggested here some kind of snacks where you have protein even in the snacks. So Parmesan and apples, ricotta and berries, Greek yogurt and bananas, this kind of stuff.
perfect.
It was just a suggestion, like what I do usually, but you can also like swipe them, or find your own variants. Like for example, if you like more protein bars, you could have protein bars and some kind of berries.
Protein bars. But I they're the sort of snacks I like. I eat a lot of nuts as well. But I haven't tried the parmesan and apple, so I'm definitely going to give that a go next week.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You should also try, for example, Greek yogurt and banana. That's also
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good.
I'll have that quite a lot. I have kefir,
Okay. Kefir is good also with banana. That's also
and it's
very
high,
good.
high in protein.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also, I feel like because you have some Pisces, you should kind of hydrate more, maybe more than you feel like it, in the sense that you should drink more water or teas to hydrate, even when you don't feel thirsty, because sometimes you could have food cravings and think it's food cravings and instead it's just dehydration. So making sure that you have a lot of water or even teas, like I said, I think it would be better. Or for example, if you don't, I don't know, if you don't drink like 2 3 liters of water a day, then maybe you could add the electrolytes, and those would help you hydrate a lot more and keep hydration into the cells. That's something that it's very underestimated. Like a lot of people feel that electrolytes are not useful at all, but I've realized that actually they are. I tried them this summer because this summer we had a really hot summer here, and I would feel completely drained by midday. I tried electrolytes and they actually worked in getting me feel less, exhausted. Just half the day and I would feel completely exhausted. I would just be like, can I go to sleep now? And it was
Definitely.
just the lack of water because the heat actually causes
Yeah,
a lot of dehydration. And well, here, especially in Italy, it was really hot. Like it was above 40 degrees most
yeah,
days. Like it was
yeah.
really hot. And so you could try electrolytes, but also if you don't like electrolytes, you could just have teas. I mean, in the UK, you're big fans of teas.
I have a lot of herbal tea. Every morning I have a green tea, and then I'll have a lemon and ginger, and that's
Lemon
yeah.
and ginger, peppermint, those are very good for hydration and also for digestion. So they're good, especially because Mars is a very like heated planet. Okay, it's the red planet and it's
Yeah,
very dry and kind of fiery, and the fiery stuff kind of cause inflammation without even realizing it. So by drinking more of digestive teas or water or whatever, it kind of helps you to maintain a lower inflammation. And it's
yeah,
actually very easy to do. It's not a supplement,
yeah.
right? And yeah, so this is what I would suggest for you. I also had prepared your birth chart image because I wanted to show you. Do you see all these planets in your eighth house? Like, do you see how many? And so I just think that it's interesting because look at the first house, the second house, the fifth house, the sixth house. Like you barely have planets, and then boom, on this other side, you have all the cluster of planets. I think it's very interesting to notice your main energy is focused on that, and that gives you the intuition, the resilience, So, yeah. Anyway,
Good.
Katie, I'm so glad that we finally managed to do it. Of course, I will
Yeah.
send you this workout plan. Maybe I will take out the tennis day and
No, no,
maybe.
no. That's fine. Keep because I'll either play tennis or I'll do the nature walk.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So I could leave that and I will send them to you. I will also send you a birth chart image and I might include some other info about your overall birth chart just to have it in mind.
I would
But
love
it's not
to.
everything related to fitness, and that's why, but in this video, since on my channel I focus more on health and wellness, I wanted to talk to you about this. But
Thank you.
in the chart overview, I also include some personal information that you might want to just read or meditate on it.
Thank you. Definitely.
Thank you again for taking the time to be my guest, and I hope that I have kind of revealed some interesting information for you.
No, it's amazing. Honestly, thank you. And I'm going to get straight on with it. Definitely. No, it's
Thank
really, really.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very happy that we had this interview and we can keep in touch.
Thanks
I
so
hope you
much.
have a great weekend and I will
And
talk to you very soon.
and you. Bye bye.
Bye.